Hey, Coach, what is it about going down to Stillwater that makes it so difficult? I mean, even when they've kind of have off years, it's been a tough place for you guys.
I think, I looked it up. I think our record in Gallagher-Iba since we've been here is 6-7. I had Chris look that up, I think a couple of days ago. And, I think most of the time, if you're 50-50 on the road, you probably think that's okay. But in this situation, I think we've had the hardest time winning, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, in Stillwater more so than any other place in the league. Is that right? Yeah, West Virginia maybe. So I think we're about 500 there. So yeah, it's been hard for us. I maybe some of it's my fault early on, especially maybe putting too much pressure on the guys that I really wanted to win there. I don't know, but I think that they get pretty amped up to play against us, and they've had really good players and they've had some good teams, and so. We know going down there today, we're going to be playing against a team that's, if you look at their 3 losses, I mean, 2 of them on the last possession, the other one in overtime. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, so that they could very easily be, 10-1 or 11-0, and they have, arguably, the best prospect in the country without question. So they've got a nice team. Mike's done a great job, and he's well liked by everybody down there, and they play hard for him.
Spend much time recruiting Cade?
Did we spend much time?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a ton of time. After, we talked to Cade. Certainly, Jarence was involved with Cade, but after his brother was hired at Oklahoma State, I don't think that. Although I know other schools were in there till the end, we weren't one of the ones at the finish line though. We felt like we could probably put our time and energy into others that maybe had a better shot at getting, but he's certainly worthy of all the accolades that's been thrown his way so far.
What stands out about him? What makes him?
I think what I like about him the most is he's a player. He's just a basketball player. He can play 1 through 4, maybe 5. He rebounds his position. He's got size. He's got unbelievable vision. He can score at all 3 levels, and he's got great pace. And the game's in slow motion to him, which is very, very difficult for most young kids to feel like. I think if you ask most freshmen, the game's in fast forward, and he's got it in slow motion. So I think that's a tribute to his IQ and his feel and also his talent.
Bill, it's not uncommon for you to have great depth. This year, you've got 10 guys that have each at some point in time been major parts of games. Just can you talk about, having 10 guys, and does that help you? Because I know you like to kind of trim it down at the end of the season.
Well, you know what, Dave? I think that I think we got good depth, but I don't think our bench has played anywhere close to like they're capable of playing. We've had flashes, when we played at TCU, you had obviously Tristan and Mitch and Juan, who was a starter that game, but those guys came in and all played terrific. But I don't think we've had very many games where you've had 2 or 3 guys on the bench really produce in a way that would be comparable to the starters. I know against Oklahoma, Mitch did, but other than that, I didn't feel like anybody was a major contributor to their talent level. So I like the fact that we do have 10 guys that we can put in there. Of course, and we haven't had Bryce since Christmas, but I still think there's another gear we can get to perform better and to rest the starters more minutes. This is probably on me more so than anybody else, but Christian Nochai don't need to be playing 37 minutes a game, and Marcus 32, whatnot. And the only reason Jalen didn't play more on Saturday was just probably because he had a rough first half. But that's not really utilizing your bench in the way that I had envisioned.
Has Tristan taken advantage of this extended opportunity?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. Can you turn that up, Connor? Is that possible? Is it all the way up? Okay, can you guys speak up?
Yeah, I'll try again. Can you hear me now?
At my age,
You got me now?
I got you.
Just with this extended opportunity that Tristan's gotten since Bryce has been out, have you seen him take any positive steps forward?
Sure. I thought he was terrific against TCU. Now, I didn't think he was as good the other day. Every scouting report's going to say it, but he gets backdoored too often, every game, twice in the same game against OU, and you give up easy baskets and you don't create them on the other end. That's hard to overcome. So I do think that he's still got another year and get to, but I think he's made the most of the opportunity, and I think he's played well for the most part. I just think there's some plays that he makes that if you go back and watch tape, a mental screw up, I think affects him in a way that maybe could affect his aggressiveness moving forward, and we got to eliminate those.
Hey, it seems like Mitch is starting to play more consistent minutes lately. What's led to that?
Well, we played big. I don't know that we played small one possession in the last two games. So, if we do that, then that means that David and Mitch are going to split time at the 5. So I think that had a lot to do with it. And I think we're actually, my personal opinion is I think Mitch has played well. I think David's last two games have played very well, but I think Mitch has played almost equally well in the minutes that he's had. And, I just think that's been our best lineup to go that route.
Coach, in talking to Marcus, he was saying that Oklahoma State has a tendency to play 5 guards quite a bit. Do you anticipate matching them with the 5 guard lineup as well?
Even when they play bigs, the bigs are like guards a lot of times. Now they will play a true 5 guard some, and then Cade or likely can be kind of their player or their 5-man or whatever in certain situations, and they post them. But I do think this is a game where we need to be prepared to do that, because when they do that, you get 5 shooters out there, and sometimes that's hard for our big guys to chase around. So we need to be prepared to do it. I'm not saying that's what we intend to do, but certainly it's something that, based on lineups, we may need to.
Hey, Bill, when Jalen and Christian get defensive rebounds, sometimes they've pushed it themselves and sometimes they've thrown it to Marcus. I just wondered what you want from them in those situations.
Well, I actually think that Jalen's pretty good at bringing it on the bounce. I would say that he's probably the second best on our team, other than Mark, or the third best, I say, behind Juan and Marcus. I've been really disappointed in how we've run to score. I think we've done a lot of good things. I don't think we've ran to score like we should. And if you got 2 guys waiting for the ball, that's a big reason why. But if Marcus hasn't been a great runner in transition when he's not bringing it. So those are some things we can improve on. But I'm fine with Jalen getting it and bringing it. I actually think he's very good in transition. I think one thing our team hasn't done very well is pitch ahead. And when we do that, we play a lot faster, because obviously the ball will move faster than what we can dribble it. And we're not a terrific scoring team or passing team in transition. So pitching ahead, I think, is something that puts more pressure on the defense and will allow us to get more opportunities. We get a little better at that.
Hey, you're at the top of the conference in block shots right now. Does it feel that way?
I'm sorry, something about block shots?
Yeah, you're at the top of the conference right now. Does it feel that way?
No, we're not a great shot blocking team by any stretch. But Mitch gets his fair share for the minutes he plays, and David hasn't gotten a ton, although he's been better in the league without question. But what we kind of got, we got some guys that can run guys down and block from behind or alter. Even though they scored on it, CB had a great block in transition to eliminate an initial layup this past Saturday. So, we're getting what are we getting, about 4 a game? And that leads the league. But I think that there's been years where 4 a game by a single player is a realistic. I don't know how many Cole averaged without question. I don't know how many Joel averaged or maybe Doak in their best years, but it doesn't feel like that we have a dominant shot blocker by any stretch.
Bill, is Bryce getting close to playing?
Yeah, he practiced yesterday, Gary. It was limited, but he did practice contact. So he may be available tomorrow. He hadn't practiced since the 28th of December. So yesterday in a 15-minute contact situation, I don't know is enough time to give you an idea if he's, rhythm and things like that ready to go. But I know he's trying to get back as soon as possible. And the doc said he'd start improving at a pretty rapid rate in about 2 weeks, and it's been right at 2 weeks. So we think he's day to day.
Hey, Bill, a couple times here, you've landed a number one prospect type of guy with Josh and Andrew. In a big picture sense, what can that mean to a program like Oklahoma State?
Well, I think, the biggest thing it does is I think that players want to go to places where there's a track record of putting guys in the league. It's one thing for Frank to spend 4 years here and be National Player of the Year and improve, as you guys saw, each and every year to the point where he could play in the NBA, or Devontae in the same way. But there's people out there saying, well, if he's that good, why do you have to stay 4 years? Whereas, the ones like Cade, they're one and dones regardless of where they went to school. Andrew is a one and done regardless if he came to Kansas or not. And there's other places out there to get those players. Now, do those places help develop them and prepare them for the NBA and style and all that stuff? Absolutely. But I think that getting a player like Cade and him going high in the draft will encourage other top prospects to say, I can go to Oklahoma State and this can happen to me. I think that's helped us in the past. And of course, we haven't landed those type of prospects in the last 2 or 3 years, but there'll be a time where we do. And when that happens, that kind of opens the floodgates a little bit to others.
How much of rebounding is skill and how much is will?
Kenitra, I would say rebounding is probably far more will than skill. I think that there is some technique that goes into it, that knowing how to wedge or knowing how to spin and get half the pie, things like that, knowing how to read the ball when it leaves a hand, whether you think it's going to be short or long. There's our guys that are very good at that. But most of it is activity and always be moving and put yourself in a position where it's a 50-50 ball every time that you're on offense. And if you do that, there'll be 50% of the balls that will bounce your way. But I do think the best rebounders are the ones that go after the ball.
Hey, you mentioned the other day, Dave and Mitch only had 1 rebound between them. When you watched the tape, what did you see kind of contributing to that?
Well, I mentioned it because that's what the stat sheet obviously said. I think that a lot of times they're more worried about blocking their man off and keeping their man from getting the ball and allowing somebody else to get it, which in times is okay. Like let's say, for instance, OU. If they send one to the glass, which there's many possessions where they sent one and we sent one to the glass. If they send one to the glass and David blocks off the one guy going, then that frees up whoever to get the next rebound. You play West Virginia like that, you're going to get your butt handed to you because they all go. So I think hitting and going and getting and not relying on somebody else to get it, I think is something that we can improve on. What bothered me most, because defensive rebounding, we weren't awful the other day by any stretch, although they did score more points off second chances because they passed out and made a couple of threes. But offensively rebounding, I thought we were bad. And that's because I didn't think we gave the second and third effort that you have to when a team attempts to block you off or to keep you out of the paint to rebound the ball. You have to give a second and third effort. And I didn't think we did that consistently at all.
Hey, Marcus was just asked where they're at defensively, and he said we're getting there. What's the next step for this group defensively?
I don't know, Matt. Maybe finishing possessions. The thing about it is with our team, and you guys watch them and you study them like we do. We don't get very many opportunities from our defense to score easy. For instance, OU scored in the first half 3 uncontested layups, basically, off of our offensive miscues. when an opponent has an offensive miscue against us, it seems like we're not converting on that, or we're not even stealing the ball. There were twice in the game against OU where they gave us the ball and we weren't prepared to take it because we were slow reacting. That's the kind of stuff that our activity levels got to improve. And certainly positioning, I don't think we're awful positioning wise. I thought we did a better job on ball screens. I thought we played the scouting report better, but we didn't do anything to create havoc. And that's something that I think the next step with good teams do is, they keep the other team from getting a good look, but they also take advantage when the other team screws up just by being at the right place and being active, and we're not doing that enough.
Bill, with the schedule being slightly shorter, I know it's only a couple games difference than what it normally would be. Has that at all changed how you guys sort of manage workloads, whether it's in game or in practices throughout the week?
No, not really. I will say this, we're not going long. Today, we'll go an hour today. We went 45 minutes yesterday. We got a lot of guys that are playing a lot of minutes, and I'd never heard of load management until the NBA came up with that a couple of years ago. But it seemed like to me it used to be guys play 40 minutes and still practice all day. But that's certainly not the case now. And I'd much rather have fresh legs and fresh minds than I would, a lot of reps in practice. So I don't know about the load management during a game. I think we'll play to win, whatever we feel like it gives us the best chance. But during practice, I definitely want to keep them off their feet as much as possible.
Got time for a couple more?
Hey, Bill, will we ever see you in a suit again during a game, or are you kind of digging this casual look during COVID?
Yeah, digging may be a little bit of a stretch, Romery, yeah, I don't think you will. I don't think you will. I feel more comfortable. My dry cleaning bill is ridiculously lower than what it normally has been, and I think that I think it's a pretty good look, to be honest with you, for coaches. I do. There'll be some coaches do it without question, but I'm pretty superstitious about certain things. May depend on how we finish the season, because if we don't finish the season right, I'm sure how I'm dressed will play a large role in that. So who knows how we'll do it next year.
Bill, good teams naturally win more close games, but do you think it also breeds confidence that helps them maybe in future close games?
Yes, I do. But I also know when you play a lot of close games, you're messing with fire. I mean, you play a close game, a team takes a bad shot that goes in, you take a good shot that doesn't go in, and game over. So it doesn't always play percentages right, where the team that plays the best down the stretch actually wins. But we've been, knock on wood, we've been pretty good so far in one or two possession games thus far. And so I do think it gives you confidence. I also think this, I don't think you want to play too many of them. Billy Tubbs told me a long time ago, he asked me in 2008, how many close games that we play, like, under 5 points or whatever. And I told him like 6 or 7. He said, good, you're not tired. And he thought there was something really to not having to go through that middle grind on a consistent basis. I don't know if I agree with that, but that was something he believed. And but I do know this, it would be nice not to have to sweat sometimes. And certainly we haven't put ourselves in enough situations where that's the case. But it is good for us, Dave, no question. Rather play them than not play them and have success. But I think over time, I don't think you want to be doing it twice a week.